Hello, I'm Tom Hogan from the Milwaukie Poetry Series. I hope you are all safe and well in this really difficult time that we're experiencing now. Usually, we partner with St. John the Evangelist in Milwaukie for these First Friday readings, but as you know, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we've had to cancel all our in-person events. So we at the Milwaukie Poetry Series are trying something different. We're reading some poems that will be posted on the Letting Library Facebook page. I'm going to read 3 today. First one is a poem that in this time that we're going through really speaks to me. Wendell Berry's The Peace of Wild Things. When despair grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound of fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. Wendell Berry's The Peace of Wild Things. The second poem I'm going to read, I picked because of how important it is that we're all in this together, that we care for each other and things are partnerships, and we want to proceed and act that way. And this is a poem where that was not particularly the case. It's one of the poems that I wrote on one of my backpacks on the Pacific Crest Trail, and it's Spring Creek Campground. Spring Creek Campground happens to be near Crescent Lake, near Willamette Pass on Highway 58, over the Cascades. But it really could be any lake that is near coming off the Pacific Crest Trail. Spring Creek Campground. No, I'm definitely not going that way, the campground sanitation worker said, suspicion of strangers seeping out of his glance at my hiking boots and dusty pack. It's not that way backpacking on the Pacific Crest Trail, where the hardship, seclusion, goal to achieve all breed a desire for companionship, to help and be helped. He was the first person I encountered at the campground at Crescent Lake, coming off 3 days on the Pacific Crest Trail. Thunderstorms every afternoon, rain every evening, mosquitoes everywhere, even a lightning-caused forest fire ignited 10 minutes ahead of me. I had naively tried to put the fire out just as it was spreading, left before getting trapped. At the pass 2 miles after the fire, a hiker ahead of me revealed he would have been right at the place the lightning bolt struck if he hadn't stopped to chat with me for 5 minutes. The firefighters parachuting into Wingo Pass would fare much better than I did. The rain kept falling, and I learned later that they had needed 3 days to control the fire. I walked out of the rain, 2 miles to the next lake, grateful that there were firefighters ready to help at a moment's call, dreading already the return to the flatland. Usually, there is a longer re-entry. Not today, in this confrontation with a sanitation worker in his white pickup truck, stress covering his body, campground bills clutched in his hand. Spring Creek Campground. The final poem that I want to read is one of my recent responses to the pandemic that we're in. And caring and nurturing and connection is just so important. This is The Word That Is a Bridge. I would love to calculate how many times a minute all over the world people say it. 500 times a second, maybe? In boulevards and cafes, thatched bungalows, Mongolian yurts. Love is flexible as a rubber band, strong as a steel rod. People mean different things when they say it. I would love to go to Mexico City with you, she said, as raindrops pattered down on the Chevy's metallic roof. I look at the condition of the world, the murders, the rapes, the pain, the grief, and know that 500 times a second isn't enough. It needs to be 5,000 times, a million, enough to get the job done. It should be said as many times as possible. Love is a bridge from husband to wife over the gulfs and ravines of misunderstanding. Love is a verb as well as a noun. Love is aimless, as in a book by Billy Collins. Love is a tonic, a salve, a bandage, a medicine, a case, an antibiotic. Love is a trumpet blast of salvation. Love spreads warmth like a radiator. Love tastes like sweet ambrosia, intoxicating in its fragrance. Love is foolish. He fell in love today for the umpteenth time, she said. Love is all and in all and in all. Love is the bridge we need to walk every second. The word that is the bridge. Thank you very much for being with us. Whenever you're watching this, please remember to be safe and healthy and take care. Thank you for watching.
Hi, my name is Emmett Huitfall, and I am a poet. And I would like to share with you my poem titled, If Only There Was Peace on Earth. If only there was peace on earth. And I'm using for an epigraph a little something that I wrote, and it goes like this. A lament derived from the perspective of hark, the herald angels sing. Hark is seldom heard. If only we could hear angels sing. Upheaval reigns on earth. God and COVID-19 reconcile. Heaven forbid a newborn king. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. Winter is coming, not a seasonal one. Flakes unending, snow upending, to no end apprehending. Buds dying on vines. The weight of burden unbearable. You be your brother's keeper. You be your kinsman's redeemer. Be pandemic ending. Winter is coming. If only I were a girl. If only I were a girl. I would sit by a pond on a stitched quilt made from love. Legs curled beneath me, straw picnic basket beside me, underneath a descending midday. A glass of Chardonnay in hand, waiting for swans to take lift, savoring nature's ambient sounds, daydreaming of you. If I were a girl, if only I were a girl.
Good evening, I'm Greg Chamov. This first poem is called Quotidian. It's the October entry in the Clackamas County Poets and Artists Calendar. Fog above the lambing ground blocks the view from the farmhouse porch to the dead pecan for which the children's swing had hung. She's penned the dogs until the last ewe drops, which could be never if the barking doesn't stop. The dog's reminder of the son who kept her awake with his crying whenever she left him in his room. His one salve, sleeping so close she couldn't turn. Sheep have taught her the violence of birth, the need for faith over reason or truth. Too seldom we're given the chance to learn the death of any beloved thing is a door that shuts without a click. This is another farmhouse poem. It's called Shuttered. To the neighbors, the derelict farm's a ghost ship, adrift on a sea of brown and green. To the memories trapped inside, the home's a hulk. They're soldiers, waiting out a war, not caring which side wins, so long as the end comes or for a pestilence, waiting for the chance to cross the fallow ground, to vanish into dogwood and birch, there to settle with the deer among the reeds by the pond and be forgotten.